Hey guys, hey girls, what's going on? Sal Vetcher here, and welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. So what this channel is all about is I break down daily fantasy football slates, I give strategy advice, tools and tips, all those types of things during the NFL season, NBA, MLB, all of that. But also sports betting is something that I'm going to be getting into right now. We've had some chatter from our community in the Facebook group about sports betting, right? It's legal now, it's officially legal in the United States, not so much in every state, specifically state law yet, but it's going to be legal in a lot of them, if not already in yours. So people have been asking me about sports betting and just basics of it. And I'm going to start with the basics, and then through these videos, I'm going to be doing a new series where I kind of expand on that and just give you more and more knowledge, things that you can learn. In the description below, I put together just a free guide for you guys. It's like 4 or 5 pages down there. Free guide to like the biggest action tips I can give anybody to sports betting. I'll probably do individual videos on all of them, but I want to make sure you guys have that at your disposal. So pull those down. Even if you're not, even if you're an experienced sports bettor, these are great tips to also keep in mind. Definitely. So print those out. It's good for beginners. It's good for people who are experienced. It's free. Down below. Download it. And yeah. So what we're gonna do here is I'm on one of my sports betting sites that I use to look at the lines and things like that. Right. So what I'm going to do is just break down some of the basics, break down what a money line is, break down what a point spread is, break down what an over-under is, and what all of it really means, right? And then maybe we'll get into a little bit more parlays and teasers and things like that. So just starting off right now, what I'll break down into right here is this. We're looking at just an NFL game, but this will kind of translate to anything. I just wanted to pick one thing right now. So we're looking at an NFL games for the conference championships for the 2018-2019 NFL season. And what you're going to see here, this first number is going to be the spread, right? So the spread basically means how many points a team has to win or lose by for you to win, right? Your bet. So if you were to place a bet on the Rams here, and you can see right here, the Rams are seen as a +3, which if you ever see plus, it means that they're an underdog. So +3 means that if you bet on the Rams, if you bet $10 on the Rams, all the Rams have to do is not lose by more than 3 points. +3 means you get +3 points. So you get the Rams +3 points. So they just can't lose by more than 3. If they lose by 3 exactly, that's considered a push. So what a push means on most sites and most casinos, most sports books, you get your money back. It's a refund. Make sure you check those rules though, because sometimes a push equals a loss. And you probably don't want to be playing at those sports books because that gives you a lot less money over time, a lot more losses over time because there are going to be pushes. So on the flip side, if you have the Saints, that means -3. You have to have the Saints win by more than 4. If they win by only 3, it's probably a push. So what this means is that they're a favorite. So you can bet the underdog, the favorite, things like that. So that's what the point spread is very easily. The number next to it is considered the vig, also referred to as the juice sometimes. It's basically what the casino takes out of their percentage of it. So if you were to bet the Saints here, the casino's taking a little bit more, -125. What that means is you have to bet $125 on the Saints to win 100. Now, you get your $125 back, but you get $100 profit. So you're coming away with $225 total, but you have to bet $125 to win that 110, or to win that $100. Whereas if you go down here quick to this matchup with the Patriots and the Chiefs, you only have to bet $110 to win 100, right? So it's a lot less risk there. So you want to get these lines closer to even as possible. And what even means is just if you bet 100, you win 100 back. So in this scenario with the Chiefs and Patriots, you bet 110, you win 100 back. That's a lot better situation than you betting 125 to win 100 back. You're putting up a lot more risk, right? And over time, if you're always putting up more money, if you're always putting up $125, the times that you lose are going to hurt you a lot more than if you're putting up $110. It makes sense, right? It might not matter in that one bet. Okay, you only lost $15, but over time, it's going to impact your overall profitability as a player. So try and find the lines that are as close to even as possible, or as close to a pick 'em. Same thing as even. You put up 100, you win 100. The closest you'll probably find in football point spreads is -110. Now on the flip side of that, you can see the Rams here. They're +105, and this is usually not rare, but uncommon in the spread. You don't usually see a plus here. As you can see here, we have both -110s because it's pretty even, that means. But right here is a little bit of an inbounds. So what +105 means is if you bet $100, you win 105. So they're an underdog. You're getting plus money because they're basically very much an underdog right now. So it's a good situation if you thought that the Rams were going to win this game to jump on them because you're getting a lot more equity out of that bet. So that's point spreads, right? And there's another little caveat to talk about point spreads is that the point spread can change. And let me actually pull up a website that I use. It's called Fantasy Labs. I'm not affiliate, at least as of right now, I'm not an affiliate of it. But they have a pretty good Vegas dashboard, and this might be a better spot to start on. So they have a pretty good Vegas dashboard here, and it just gives you all the lines for the week. So we're on these same exact games we were just on before. You can see that the implied open, the implied live. So this is what the game opened at, and this is what the total for that team changed to. So this is just the Rams team total, how many points they're going to score in the game. Let's move over to here where it says over-under. So we see over-under here, and actually come back over here to live. So the point total opened at 3.5. So that spread that we saw was 3.5, and it's still at 3.5. Now, we see here it's only at 3. That's one big tip I can give you guys. Shop your lines. So what that means is go to different sports books and figure out where you have the best line. So right here you're getting the Saints at -3, but at this dashboard you're getting them at -3.5, wherever that they're sourcing this information from. So if you're betting the Saints, you would much rather bet them on this site because you're getting -3. All the Saints have to do is keep it or win by 3 or more for you to at least get your money back. Whereas if the Saints only won by 3 here, you would lose because in this situation, -3.5, that half a point, that's not realistic in real life, right? How do you score half a point? It's just kind of like a buffer to the Saints have to score 4. You can't push in that situation. So keep in mind this stuff. I wish that we had a line movement. So say that, so I can show it a little bit better. So say that the Rams opened at 3.5 and the live line right now was 4. They became 4-point underdogs. What that basically means there is that there's a lot more money now going in on the Saints, so they're trying to make the Rams line a little bit more attractive. So if the Rams line got pushed up to a 4 here, or on the flip side, if the Saints line got bet down to a -2 somehow, and that would be a big line movement, right? If it got bet down to a -2 and the Saints only had to win by 3 for you to win that bet, that means a lot of money is coming in on the Saints. So what they're trying to do there is they're trying to make the line a little bit less attractive for you to push you onto the other side of it so there's more leverage, so they're not overexposed in one spot. Anytime that there's a line movement, if you get in early in the week and you bet the Saints at -3.5 and then the line moves to -2, that's good for you. You gotta, or if the line moves to -5, you bet them at -3.5. So all they have to do for your bet to win is win by 4. But for other people, they have to win by 5 or 6. If you're in that situation, then you beat the line. And what that means is that you're going to end up being more profitable in the end. If you ever beat the line, if you beat that closing line with the bet number that you got, that's a good situation to be in. That's where all the pros are in. That means you're going to win more times than not. So make sure you're trying to, big tips, make sure you're shopping your lines, checking out all the different options, sports books that you can bet on to find the best line for you, because over time that will add up. And number 2, try and get in there early. And sometimes it's hard because you don't really have all the information you wish you had. But when you get more seasoned, try and get into the lines in the sports books online, wherever you're going in person. Try and get in there earlier in the week before the lines move. Pick your side of the bet that you think is going to work. And if you pick the right side and the line moves in your favor, that's good, right? That means that you're beating the closing line. It's similar to the stock market. If you get in on a stock before other people get in on that stock, and then it grows in a good way for you, and then people are jumping on it, you're going to make more money than them, right? Same exact type of mindset and theory behind that. So the next thing we could look at on here is this number right here. It says O and U. That's over under. And if we come back to this dashboard, the over under is right here. So we have seen a movement in the over under. So over-under in this game is 56. That means there has to be a total points of 56 is what they're projecting here. It's an implied projection. So if 57 points are scored and you take the over, you win the bet. If 55 points are scored and you take the under, you win the bet, right? Makes sense. Just over-under total points. Lots of things can impact this in football. Missed extra points, field goals, pick sixes, a whole bunch of things. So it's very simple. You just take the over or the under. And in this one, we see a line movement in both games. So the line movement in this game right here was due to weather. And weather's something that I have in that PDF below. Make sure you download it. But weather's really not, people overhype the weather in most situations. We've had a 4-point swing in the weather. So I probably end up taking the over in this game, but I do want to actually look into the weather a little bit more as the game gets closer. But people think the weather affects the game a ton. 4 points is a lot. 4 points is what a lot of starting quarterbacks would get if they were injured in the game. It would be the same exact type of impact on the line. So what we could say from that is that was the weather. But in this situation, it's been bet up to 56. So what this means is that this opened at 56, or it's been bet up to 56.5. This is the live line. It opened at 56. So it opened at 56 points for the over-under. It's now currently at 56.5. What that means is a lot of people are betting the over. They're pushing that total up. When a lot of people bet the same way with the spread, a lot of people bet the over, they make the over higher so it's a little bit less attractive. So if this number ever got to like 59, people are like, oh, damn, they have to score 3 more points. That's like an extra possession in an NFL game. That's actually a lot. But it's actually that important even just for a half a point or a point. So a lot of people are betting the over. They raise the over to make it less attractive to bet, so more people bet the under. And once again, you have that balancing effect. So that's the over-under. And then lastly, the easiest one of them all is the money line, right? So money line works the same way. It's just VIG. It's the same thing as this VIG we see right here. Money line means who is going to win straight up. So right here, you see that the Saints are a favorite. We talk about a negative indicating a favorite, a positive indicating an underdog. So for the Saints, you have to bet $168 on this website to win 100. That means they're a pretty big favorite, right? On the flip side for the Rams, if you bet $100, since it's plus, you'll win $148. They're a pretty decent underdog, right? We know that based on the fact that they're 3-point underdogs. So that's the money line. It's just who wins straight up. You don't have to worry about points. You don't have to worry about over-unders or any of that stuff. A couple things that I'll talk about now, and I'll kind of demonstrate them for you if we go to the NFL. The first one's teasers. Or actually, you know what, let's start with parlays. So parlays are very hot right now. A lot of people are doing them in the media. It's just a fun thing. And what a parlay is, you get to group a couple of outcomes together, and it increases the amount of money that you have potentially to win, and you only have to put up a lot less money to get that increase, right? So if we were to bet the Rams straight up, if we put $168 on the Rams straight up, we would win 100 if they won, right? But if you parlay the Rams with, say, the over here, and now you want to go to continue, let's just say we were to put $50 in, your potential winnings are 50 to win 100, right? So instead of putting up $168 to win $100, you're now only having to put up 50 because you added another scenario into that. So what this means is that both of these have to hit. So the Rams have to win and the game has to go over. If one of them hits, you lose the bet. Parlays are like the devil's food or whatever you might call it. Don't get caught up in parlays, especially if you're a beginner. And if you're somebody who's been playing for a while, don't play parlays. Casinos love parlays. I mean, there's certain situations when you can. We'll get into that in further videos, strategic types of ways. But don't play parlays because casinos want you to play parlays. They make a ton of money off people playing parlays. People see, oh, I only have to put up that much money, and I could win potentially double than I would if I just bet on the Saints. Oh, I'll throw this extra outcome in. But it's so hard to win a single bet in sports betting that thinking that you could win two, and that counts as just your one payment slip, it's just hard. Over the long term, it's not profitable. You might win one night or you might win big on a parlay, and that's going to give you that motivation saying, I can do this all the time. At that point, it's just luck. So I wouldn't bet parlays, especially because that was just us looking at 2 games. Say you have a 5-game parlay, which tons of people like throwing a bunch of teams into a parlay. You have a 5-game parlay. If 4 of those teams hit, and the 5th team doesn't hit, you lose. You don't win any of your money. Whereas if you bet all 5 of those games and you pick 4 of the teams, you would have hit at an 80% clip, which is the majority of the money. And this is something I should have mentioned earlier, but professional sports bettors, they're hitting at a 53 to 54% clip. That's what they're trying to hope to win at, right? If you hit 50% of your bets, you will not be profitable. Why? Because, as we showed earlier, and I'll go right back to it, there's VIG. The casino takes a cut. What the VIG is the casino taking their percentage. It's not you bet 50, you win 50. You bet 100, you win 100. You have to bet 125 to win 100. There's VIG, right? That difference is what the casino is taking for themselves. So you can't just do a coin flip and say, if I win 50% of my bets, I'll split even. That's not the case. To break even and to turn a little bit of a profit, you have to hit around 53.5%. About 53, 54%, right around that number. It usually moves depending on the VIG. But if you're betting minus 110 lines, it's right around 53 point something is what you have to hit at, which is pretty hard. You have to hit more than half of your bets, which in the NFL, if you're betting minus 110 lines, the MLB, NBA, that's pretty hard. I heard once that there's only like 100 people in the world who are net positive on sports betting. Majority of people use it for entertainment purposes. I primarily use it for entertainment purposes. Hope to win some money, not lose my ass betting, but at the end of the day, it's hard, right? So don't make it even harder on yourself and easier for the casino by playing parlays. Yes, if you put 4 teams into a parlay and they hit and all teams hit, you're betting 50 to win $300 and it's great, right? But then you're going to use that $300 because people use their emotions in betting and in the stock market and anything related with money, and they think that they could do it every single time. So you're going to take that $300, you're going to put it back into parlays, you're going to lose it all. You're going to lose the 50 that you originally started with, and it's just going to be downhill from there. So don't do parlays. A modified version of parlays, however, is the teaser. So what a teaser does is the same exact thing. You have to group 2 players again, but you can't do the money line, right? And teasers are only viable in the NFL, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the teaser, you can pick a 6-point teaser. That's probably the best option that I would say. Stay away from all the other ones. 6-point teaser. Now the Rams, they came from +3 to +9. You could take that bet. The Patriots came from +3 to +9. You could take that bet. You pick 2 teams. You click continue. Now if we put that same $50 in, and we go to continue, Earlier, you were winning 101 if you paired two teams, right? Now you're winning $41. You might be saying, what the hell, man? But teasers are actually pretty beneficial. What they do is they give you more points. They give you a better odds of winning. That's why if there's less risk, there's going to be less payout. Like anything, less risk, less reward. So you're getting 6 extra points. So now the Rams just can't lose by 10 or more, and the Patriots can't lose by 10 or more. Outcomes that are probably likely based on the fact that they're originally only 3-point underdogs. You get to pair those teams together. Just like a parlay, they both have to happen for you to win, but it's a lot less risk, and it's probably pretty certain to happen. And there's a scenario where you should usually only... There's 2 rules to teasing, I should put it this way. Never tease through 0. So, for instance, these Saints were minus 3-point favorites. You shouldn't be teasing them to +3. Because when you move through 0, you're paying for a 6-point teaser. When you do a teaser like this, you get 6 points. You're technically paying for that based on the amount of money you betting $50 to win 41. It's not even. You're technically paying the VIG for that, right? And it'll be different at different casinos. But if you're doing a 6-point teaser and you're teasing through 0, an outcome that doesn't happen in baseball, an outcome that doesn't happen in NBA, and rarely happens in football and not so much in hockey, when you're teasing through 0, you're losing a point. So you're basically paying for 6 points, but only getting 5. That's a ripoff. You're going to end up losing money in the long run. Don't tease through 0. The only times you should really tease in the NFL, and like I said, the NFL is the only sport you should be teasing because the other sports are just so volatile, right? NBA, 10 points can be scored in 20 seconds. You don't want to be doing that. Free throws at the end of the game can just ruin your whole teaser. You don't want to be doing that. College football, same way. Defenses don't really play too much. It's variant. It's harder. It's not as predictable as the NFL based on the outcome of events, right? You can't tease baseball, so don't even try. There's just no way to tease baseball. So NFL, you should be teasing if the number puts you through 3, 4, or 7, or preferably all of them. So the Rams started at 3, and what those 3 numbers are the most often spreads ending for NFL games. That's a terrible way to put it, but the most often times the difference in a score is in an NFL game. So most games end within 3, end within 4, and end within 7 spreads. So the Rams already starting at 3. That's a key number. You get to tease them through to 4. You get to tease them off of 3 for the push, tease them through 4, and tease them through 7, and the same thing with the Patriots. This week right now is set up for a really good teaser situation, especially if you take into the fact this is in championship weekend, so these teams are all pretty evenly matched. It would be difficult to see a team losing by 10 or more points. So that's just a specific situation. So what we covered today was we covered the lines. What are they? What is VIG? What does it mean? It's the casino's cut out of it, and it's why you can't just win 50% of your bets and think you're breaking even. You're actually losing money. You have to win around 53 to 54%. We covered the over-under, which is pretty simple, just over or under, which one you want to bet, point totals. We covered what line movements are and why line movements happen. It's because the public, which another thing to mention is public versus sharps. When you hear public, that's just people who bet with their emotions. That's the majority of the people in the country, the majority of people in the world who are betting using the stock market. They're called the public, whereas the sharps are the people who bet using the numbers. Another important tip is to bet numbers, bet statistics, important key statistics, and bet the numbers that you see on these sports betting websites. Don't bet by the team. That's how you'll end up losing in the long run. You'll end up using way too much emotion. What else did we cover? We covered what the money line is. It's just having to have a team win straight up. And we covered what teasers were on parlays. Stay away from parlays. They're like the devil's food. So this is just a basics intro. This is like the basic betting options you have and probably that you'll usually only use when you're betting. I'm going to get deeper into each of these. Download the PDF below. If you're still watching, comment below that you're still watching. I want to reach out to you and thank you personally. I appreciate it. This is the first of our betting series videos. My name is Sal. Best of luck to all of you. Peace.